So, you want to hear a story, huh? A tale of adventure across the stars. Come, listen to old Marcus. Have I got a story for you? My tale begins here, on this backwater planet called Pandora. Some say it is a wasteland of greed and violence, and it is. But if you've got skills to pay the bills, Pandora is full of opportunity. Vault Hunters. They brave the merciless Borderlands in search of secret alien treasure. My father told me tales of vault hunting when I was but a little Marcus boy. And now, I tell you. So, you ask, what treasures do the vaults hide? Fame? Wealth? Power? Or maybe nonsense like charity or family. I don't know. Use your imagination. Whatever the prize, a Vault Hunter must have the determination to seize victory from the jealous hands of fate. Now, my story is about a very special band of Vault Hunters who have only just started their journey. They are bold and hungry. Maybe old Marcus tells you this story because they remind me of you. Just a little, don't let it go to your head. These new Vault Hunters are answering a siren's call. Her name is Lilith, and she is a hero, savior of Pandora 12 times over. Lilith is recruiting a team to hunt for a map. A map that leads to vaults all over the galaxy. But she is not the only one. Dark forces have gripped the Borderlands. A new threat, unlike anything the galaxy has seen before. My story begins right here on Pandora, with our new Vault Hunters, their siren leader, and, most importantly, me.
Hello everyone, welcome today to the Proving Grounds. Today we're taking a field trip to Pandora again. At this time we're reaching the stars to check out the solar system around it. Today we are talking about Borderlands 3's base game. Now currently I have not played any of the DLC. I'm waiting for the Game of the Year edition before I touch any of that stuff, so this is solely going to be based on the base game of that. So, Borderlands 3 continues more Vault Hunter action, more loot, more guns, or as the game advertised itself, the original looter shooter. Which, you know, with all these fancy games with fancy dancy little games with loot boxes and stuff, I think was actually a nice tagline to go with the game, actually, because, you know, you have all the negative stigma going with loot boxes and buying shit and stuff, so. Now, there were good and bad things that I did like and dislike. Now, the story, I feel like, took a backseat again. Like, I think Borderlands 2 and Tales of Borderlands are still, like, the best stories in the Borderlands franchise. This one took a really weird turn with the story. I would say it's better than Borderlands 1 storyline with the antagonists, but they're also really bizarre. Like, the antagonists are streamers who they live stream murdering and torturing people, and they're apparently like super popular in the galaxy and shit. It's like a very weird theme. There is a strange theme of streaming in it, in all the. And all together. I mean, there's the echo device thing when you live stream, where viewers can cause extra things to happen, pinatas to contain money or grenades and shit like that. It's a fun little extra thing to do if you like live streaming, but in general, I don't know if they're trying to just mock live streamers or just have fun with it. But, like, as bad guys, it just seems weird to be live streamers who murder people. I mean, I get a lot of people in Pandora all fucked up and shit, but that's just kind of like weird. Wouldn't really say the two characters were very memorable either. they pretty stereotypical, but general the story, you start as another new group of vault hunters who come to Pandora, and essentially what's going on is everyone's trying to put the vault key together to open more vaults and all that kind of jazz, and it leads to some mysterious past shit that no one really knew about Pandora itself and that, which seems a little weird in retrospect of the first game, but that's stuff to go into with the spoilers. So the gameplay, of course, is the more important thing always for a game. So Borderlands 1, 2, and the pre-sequel. The pre-sequel was like the first one where we kind of mix up a few things with using the oxygen kind of system. So Borderlands 3 does still have the ground pound. They added what's essentially a plunging attack. So that's a very nice thing to keep into the game. Obviously, you don't have to worry about oxygen, though. But you do still essentially have your ground pound attack. On top of that, you can actually do some slight parkour things. You can climb up stuff by holding the jump button on, and your character will actually climb up. And you can do a bit of a slide. And later on, as you get equipment, you can actually enhance your slide a little bit with a few things. You'll be able to, like, one item I got when I slide was able to shoot exploding chainsaws from my feet while sliding. Plus, you can also find guns that have shield effects when you're crouched. And when you slide, that counts as crouching, so the shield gets triggered during that. So you can do a few extra things, nothing like ground revolutionizing. They also proved, well, I mean, it depends. I don't really deal with the cars too much, but there's a little bit more you can do with the cars. They added a few new car types, but it's in general the same, you know, point, drive, shoot, explode shit. Basically the just same thing now. The creativity, the guns, which has always been the staple of the Borderlands games, of how bizarre the guns are. I mean, there's literally a gun you can shoot that becomes a moving torrent that can run around. Like, I found a flamethrower gun that when I reload it, I discard the gun, and the gun itself will become a moving flamethrower torrent. It's a very, very bizarre weapon. But there were still some pretty bad shit, weird weapons. I know Pad, when we were playing through the game, got this fucking thing that almost was like seizure-inducing. Like, I'm almost surprised it even existed in the game. I'm like, good lord, that's actually hurting my fucking eyes. It was just some weird special effects explosions and shit. In general, the guns held up to still being the usual silly shit. General, when it comes to, like, the mission gameplay, it's a lot of the same. Go to people, do shit, follow them, blow, kill up things, you know. The usual Borderlands things. Hasn't really changed much. Now, between the characters you got, I played as the Beastmaster, which I think was one of the more unique new characters the game added, who essentially has a pet. So, you know, he's like a minion type. He only has only one pet. He's not like a necromancer from Diablo 2 with a giant legion of skeletons and golems marching down. But you'll be able to pick a few different pets and customize how the pet acts and what it can do and some of its special abilities. I actually enjoyed the Beastmaster. You have another Siren character, a giant mech wielder, and then just a soldier boy who has kind of minded me of Jack in the pre-sequel, because he has like a hologram thing similar to the doppelganger dude. What is his name? Timothy. I think Timothy was his real name. Actually, they made one of the DLCs about Timothy, actually. But that's a whole different subject when we get to the Game of Year edition crap. If it ever comes out. Which I'm sure it will. Why wouldn't it? Now, something I actually disliked that they changed is something I really liked it in Borderlands 2. Was they gave you these, like, little extra points that you could put and just slowly change like your quit and stuff and just slowly make it a little better. That system technically still does exist in Borderlands 3, but they made it part of true Vault Hunter mode, so you can't use it in the OG game, and that's kind of disappointing to me, because I actually had fun kind of picking like what things, whether I wanted to get more health, quit, and such. Like, it's a little, I mean, you get such a small fraction of percentages, but once you get a whole bunch, you can get like a nice 10, 20 extra percent in the certain things, and it gives you a little extra customization with your character. Now, the reason I think it's a shame, like, for people we play games, you know, that's good and all, and I think having we playing in a game is good. But, you know, somebody like me, I don't usually get to replay a lot of games too much, because I have too many games to get to. Having the time to replay a game is usually not on the table for me. So, it feels just like a piece of customization I didn't get to experience, because it was cut off for me. So, that's just kind of how I feel about it. But it's not a game-breaking type-esque thing. But it was something that I was just a little disappointed, because I actually looked forward to just putting a few little points in different things to make my character just a little better at a few of the particular things I liked. So, but for those who like to keep replaying Borderlands and looting, you'll find that it is changed a wee bit. So you'll get a token, and they chopped it up into 3 branches with 2 subs. So you'll have melee damage and vehicle damage in the Enforcer. You'll have the shield capacity and shield recharge in the Survival. And the recall and the luck drop rate in the Hunter category. And when you select one of those, it selects certain effects in those. So you'll be able to slowly change up a few things in that. And within those, they have skill trees that add more stuff to you with that. So it's, and the skill, the unique skill things in that are earned by doing by putting so many tokens into those categories. Now, I don't know for sure if they're all different from character to character. There might be some differences between the Guardian, as it's called in 3, the Guardian rank. But, you know, that has to just do with replay and that. So, anyway, getting back to it. So, I played with 4 players like we did with the pre-sequel, because Aaron joined us for the pre-sequel, unlike Borderlands 2, where it was just 3 of us. And I gotta say, the game was really fucking easy. Like, Dan and Pad played the game with each other way before I got the game during Black Friday for, like, I think it was like $18 or some shit. And I got a copy for Aaron for a gift of that for like $18 of that. But, no, actually, I think I got it for 15 and it was 18 for Aaron. I got it from a Redbox machine or something like that. But, and I remember, like, there were several bosses that, like, oh, this is going to be interesting. I wonder how this will do, because, you know, this was a really hard fight for us. And, like, many of the boss fights just melted. There were very few instances. I would basically say, like, the last boss was the only one that really put up much of a fight, because it had a lot of MMO-esqueness to it. But, I mean, outside of that, a lot of bosses just fucking melted into nothing as we just whittled them with holes. It's just a little disappointing. I mean, to be fair, that's pretty standard. Everyone's gonna obviously. The only other boss fight that really put up much of a fight was one that dealt with a lot of clones, and that's like the only reason that one actually stood a chance is because there was so many versions of itself running about at one time, and you have to find the real one while fighting the clones and shit. So that one, in that regard, actually put up a decent fight too. But it just felt really easy, like ridiculous. I remember there was this like I don't even think I even got to see it. Just melted like instantaneously. But I remember Dan was curious to see how it was because I think he said it like had some weird, unique power that we basically didn't give it time to activate before we melted it. Like they used the siren power to hold it in the air. Everyone shot, melted. I think it was a midget type enemy. It was like about midway through the game of that, and it just, yeah, I mean, I feel like kind of lost a little flavor there. Many of the bosses, the early bosses especially, weren't really special characters. I was kind of surprised how there weren't as many special introductory to, like, just one-shot side boss characters as there were in the previous games. There were just a lot of masked weirdos. I mean, there are some unique ones. Like, there's the two magician characters much later in the game of that. They were also super easy, which was kind of disappointing considering they were actually based on celebrities. But, I, I'm not trying to say, like, the game was bad. Like, it was obviously still quite enjoyable with friends, but it was pretty disappointing how a lot of stuff melted. Just melted like butter. Now, it was nice seeing a little expansion to the world in Borderlands since you don't hang out all on Pandora this time or a moon. This time you actually get to go to a few different planets that apparently a lot of the cast spread it out to, which that's a little odd considering nobody did that originally, but so you get a few different environments that basically the planets just change up the environments. You got a jungle planet and such, and they didn't really. They just changed the scenery. Really, they weren't like mind-boggling, blowing type things. It's just different scenery, but it works out okay. I mean, it's a nice transition to a few different environments, and you get a little expensive expansion of the universe of Borderlands. Because to be fair, you don't really learn too much crap outside of Pandora. So I think it was just a nice little touch to move on, especially if they're gonna keep going with Borderlands. I mean, you gotta start expanding somewhere else. Because I mean, you've just done so much on Pandora, and considering where the story went in 3, I'm not sure how they could just really justify staying on Pandora for tons of full games. Like, being on Pandora is not impossible. I would imagine it just, at this point, it would just be boring to make several games where everything would take place on Pandora, so I would imagine if we get a 4th game, we're going to probably either be taking place on some other planet completely, or just in a similar situation, planet hopping like 3 did. Now, graphically, it's cell shading style, the art style is still the same. Would I consider it like a significant boost graphically? Like, aesthetically, I think they look still very good and everything, but there are some issues, like pop-in texture issues. It suffers a lot of textual pop-in issues on weird things. Like, you can, like, I remember there's some slot machines on Sanctuary. Like, you can look away from them, then look back at them, and they'll be fuzzy unloaded again. Like, I don't know what's up with some of the textures in this game. Some of them are really, really bizarre, but, you know, that's a minor thing. That's not a big thing. Now, some of the weird shit we've experienced is a lot of weird menu interface type things. Like, when going from one zone to another zone, the timer, for some reason, after many updates, they still can't get the timer just to show up on screen. Like, it'll show up sometimes, and other times it'll never show up. Now, that's, again, another minor thing. But something I really disliked, unlike, the normal kind of things where sometimes stuff will fall through the environment or something. That's something that happens to some guns, always been in all the Borderlands games. You know, it happens. But something that was really annoying was with cutscenes. So there were some very bizarre issues with cutscenes in Borderlands 3. And, you know, we played through several different updates when playing this on Twitch. And there continued to be weird issues with cutscenes. There was one time where a cutscene triggered while I was in the menu, and my menu's visor thing, the blue kind of hologram thing, stayed plastered over the cutscene. Or another time where I believe my model in the middle actually stated like faded in the middle there because it got caught with the menu open again. There was a lot of frame issues also in several instances of cutscenes and gameplay. There was a huge increase on the special effect department of a lot of weapons. Like I said, Pat had a weapon by the end of the game that I almost surprised they didn't even they put in, because it's like I could literally see people complaining about it being seizure reducing. So I'm surprised they even made it in the game, honestly. But there were a lot of huge special effects in this game, and they can cause a lot of frame drops and shit. They can cause a lot of trouble, and several cutscenes oddly have this problem too. I remember specifically one where a lot of frames drops while doing, and it was a serious scene, so a bit of a shame there. So I'm not sure what the fuck is wrong with that, but they've yet to fix that. Pat told me when the game was launched, like prior to, you know, any of the updates, there were even more problems. Like I remember a late new NPC you meet. He told me there were several bizarre walking pattern things with him, and one of them was still actually bugged where they went through a wall while doing a follow mission with him. And he said it was a lot worse when the game was just out. So a lot of things may have been fixed that I wasn't even aware of when I started playing. So be aware for those who don't have access to updates, or, you know, down in the future road where you may have to just play the vanilla disc. Of course, by then, hopefully, you'll have the Game of the Year edition, which hopefully won't pull Fallout 4 and actually have all the content on the disc, so thus you'll have the more fixed product, hopefully. But we don't even know if they're going to do a Game of the Year. I think it's fairly likely, but we don't even know yet. That hasn't even been announced. They're still in the middle of doing a lot of DLC-esque type things. Now, you do have access to a platinum, of course. You know, it is weird seeing few games that don't get platinums of that, but, you know, you got a full way of trophies, platinum, and then, of course, all the DLCs, which there are currently 2 of, currently have trophies and that. So if you're in that kind of boat on Xbox One, Steam, or PS4, you have plenty of extra side shit to do in that. Overall, it's just more Borderlands. I still think Jack was the more interesting villain out of the Italian franchise. And now, obviously, this takes place after Tales of Borderlands. Tales of Borderlands was in kind of a weird spot at taking place between different games, during and after certain events in games. And this straight out takes place after Tales of the Borderlands, and it does have some cameos with characters from that. Whis appears in the game. They changed his voice actor, which I think actually kind of ruined his character, because he just doesn't have that way Whis talked in a very sarcastic touch, to me at least. You know, obviously a subjective opinion. I just don't feel like it's the same, because he doesn't carry that same kind of tone as the original voice actor. Vaughn appears again, the bank guy too, who appeared in the last DLC that was free for a while for Borderlands 2, for anyone who is aware of that. What was it, like Attack on Sanctuary or whatever it was called? He makes a return in Borderlands 3. Sadly, you won't find too much else outside them mainly, but I'm sure they'll supply more references upon doing echo finding and such and that. Overall, like, the story, it continues it, but it just, I don't know, I felt like the villains were a weak. Better than Borderlands 1, where it basically didn't have any real main villain, but it's there. The overarching plot of the vaults, I thought, was just felt kinda off the top, like, especially what happens at the end, but we'll get to that, like I said, once we get the spoilers and that. We didn't experience any, like, game-breaking, like, you know, the game, we didn't have the game freeze, we didn't experience anything that, completely stopped us from continuing or anything. As I always say, that happened to me in Borderlands 1, where my save data got corrupted, because that was a common bug that they never fixed on the PS3 and 360 versions of Borderlands 1, and have always held a salty grudge for it forever. Forever. But we didn't experience any problems like that. Like I said, at most, they'll just minor things that are a little baffling a bit that haven't been fixed when there have been so many updates for this game, seriously, by this point. When making this review, there's another update for this damn game, so they're still fixing shit. So, I mean, at least that's good. They're still willing to keep trying to improve stuff, but it's just a bit of a shame that the base game did have some problems there, but they're not anything game-breaking to the end. Would I recommend Borderlands 3? If you played any or all the other Borderlands 3, I don't see why not. It's a full-player co-op game. That's, of course, the main draw of the fun, in my opinion. But as a secondary, if you're just a solo player wanting more of the story, it's more the story. It's definitely not as terrible as I would say with the pre-sequel. I mean, I would hold Borderlands 1 to having an incredibly weak villain, while pre-sequel just was weird. Just weird. Even weirder than murdering streamers who live stream murder. But there are some good jokes and stuff in the game. It's still humorous and weird and all that kind of shit. And it's nice to catch up on a lot of the characters, because time has passed and some characters have changed a wee bit and things happen and all that jazz. Probably character-wise, the only thing I think was kind of weird was with Hammerlock. Because Hammerlock turns out to be gay now. I don't know if there's anything in the past. I think Pad told me in Borderlands 2 there is some stuff that tells you that he's gay, and I have no problem with any characters being gay, but I just feel like it felt like it was kind of forced. That's the thing I have a problem when it comes to, like, gay, trans characters or that. Because, I mean, there's characters I like in a lot of Japanese games that are trans or gay and that, or lesbians and things. But I just don't like it when it's forced. Like, it feels like, okay, what character can we pick and just make them this for, like, points on Twitter? Like, that kind of thing just kind of feels weird to me. And Hammerlock kind of felt odd that way, because his acting in general felt different in Borderlands 3 altogether to me, because I always kind of just took him as the British stereotype kind of thing. So, I don't know. It's not like he's broken or bad or anything. It just felt kind of forced to me, but it's not like killing me at the end of the day. It's not like he had any real relationship before, so it's not that bothering. It just seemed kind of random to me. But, outside that, pretty much all the characters are just how they are. Some have grown up, some have changed a wee bit, but not as polarizing as that. I haven't heard any real drama about Hammerlock there at all, honestly, but I just thought it was just kind of random. Like I said, if there was anything in prior games, which I think Pad told me there was stuff in Borderlands 2 that hinted at, then I mean, then I guess it's just stuff I missed. Subtle, and not the best at subtlety. After all, most people figure out who the main human villain is in Persona 4, and I didn't really figure it out until about halfway through the game. And I was like, oh, you know, I bet that's who it is. Well, like, I know Striketh on Twitch is like, I figured it out, like, super early and then quit the game because it just wasn't interesting anymore. So, I'm not necessarily the best person for subtlety, so, you know, maybe I just missed all the telltale signs, I don't know. I'm just being honest, that felt a little random. But it's not game-breaking again. The game's perfectly functional. As a game, I definitely can recommend it with friends. Solo, I mean, if you played through the other Borderlands games, then I'm sure it'll just be fine for you for solo as well. Like I said, it feels a tad bit easier, but again, we played with 4 players, and I don't think that's necessarily an excuse, because several bosses in the pre-sequel actually gave us trouble. There were several bosses that actually gave us decent trouble in the pre-sequel. So it just seems kind of weird that they went from, I mean, let's see, there was the final boss and the Claptraps DLC. That plane, oh my goodness, that fucking plane. That's still probably the worst boss in all fucking Borderlands. All together is that damn plane in the pre-sequel, man. But in general, if you like Borderlands, it's just more Borderlands. Now, price-wise, like I said, there is no Game of the Year edition or anything quite yet, because they're still doing DLCs, so there's still stuff coming out of that. But for the base game, you're looking at around $20. Like, right now it's $22 on Amazon, and I've seen it go around $20-$30. Value-wise, if you're definitely going to play, get the full experience with friends and shit, because obviously you gotta take into account if everyone needs a copy of the game. I think the game, considering the state it came out with the base version, not speaking of any Game of the Year edition version, which we'll make that judgment call when that version ever gets made. But for the base version, how it came out and everything, I would give it a value of $49.99, a $50 value, because it had some unpolished stuff that it came out with that needed a lot of bug fixes. And like I said, there might have been stuff I wasn't even aware of because I didn't play the game during launch. But though, considering I played the game, like, I think it came out early in the year and I got it during Black Friday, so, you know, they had a lot of time to fix a lot of stuff, and there still were issues. So I don't think it's a full value game, but it's still very enjoyable for you and your friends to play through. Look for wacky guns and all kinds of shit like that. Still has that appeal. But the story's just kind of there to me. But the game's going around $20 for a physical copy. Obviously, digital is, of course, full price unless you get on a sale. Like, if I was to look right now, it is, yeah, it's $59.99 right now, max price on PSN, so there's no PSN sales going on for it. I don't think it's worth a full $60, but of course, you know, price is subjective. Price is always subjective, but that's the kind of value I think you're getting. But overall, I did enjoy it, and there were some nice other touches, like there was actual body physics, like enemies can get knocked around and kind of have a ragdoll effect with their bodies now and that. And that can add a little bit, like throw a grenade, ragdoll them around, use the time they're on the ground to waddle them around some more and shit. But those are just small little touches, but overall, it's just more Borderlands. I don't feel like the quests and stuff changed too much from just running, gunning, driving, and follow here and rescue this person there. I don't think there's too much. There's a lot there's a lot of side stuff still in that, so you'll get your bang for your buck. But those are my thoughts on Borderlands 3's OG main storyline and everything. So, I'm gonna go into spoilers, what I think about the ends and about the bosses in more detail and that. So, as I said, like, the main bosses, you know, they're live streamers who mortal people and stuff, and they're, like, creating this ultimate bandit group of people, and it just, they're all brother and sister, and it turns out, like, the OG Vault Hunter, before any other Vault Hunter, is actually the fucking father who you meet at the end, who actually was a very nice, delightfully little silly character, who dies. I swear Borderlands wants to kill every fucking character I like. I mean, Tiny Tina is probably like the only character they won't fucking kill, just because they would probably have a mass riot if they killed Tiny Tina. But I don't know why they always have to kill all the characters I like and leave the characters I dislike, which there's a character I actually really do dislike that we're going to get to too. But the twins, the Callisto twins, just didn't turn out to be very interesting to me. They're just a bunch of shitty children that just want to get all the power, and one dies during the progression of the story. The other one fuses with a monster, a Vault Hunter, not Vault Hunter, but a Vault monster, and pretty much creates a kind of an MMO-esque situation where it's doing a lot of area effect stuff to the arena. Kind of reminded me maybe of doing a little of a DDR-esque MMO boss fight, if you ever or even know what an MMO, what DDR-esque MMO boss fight is like. If not, just look up like World of Warcraft DDR boss or something. They'll give you like an idea. But yeah, not really memorable. They're just assholes. They treat everyone like assholes. I mean, the thing I think that gave Handsome Jack charm is that, I mean, he is an asshole. He was a horrible fucking human being. But he was a sarcastic lunatic on top of it. The Callisto twins are just fucking assholes. They're not insane, per se, not like not in any way that Handsome Jack fucking was. They're just really boring to me. I mean, they have a few lines that can be a little humorous, but overall, they just go in, kill everyone, threaten people. They didn't come off as very memorable or anything to me. I did like the brothers boss fight, though. I think that was probably my favorite boss fight in the game, because it actually was like very Neo-esque, having bullet orb things go around the arena and that. I wouldn't be surprised if Neo actually was an inspiration for his boss fight. I don't know any interviews off the top of my head with the game, so I don't personally know if that actually was a case, but I really liked that boss fight. I think that was probably the most interesting one. The final boss fight was okay too. It wasn't like terrible. It was probably the more challenging fight. Really, the Callisto twin fights are probably the most challenging fights really in the base game, honestly, for 4 people. There's so many of them just fucking melt like butter. So much butter, man. Much butter. Oh, we went over about Whis and that. I would have liked it more to, like, I was really sad that Lodobot isn't even, I straight out asked in Pad, like, is Lodobot in the game? Like, anywhere, like, anything, and just no Lodobot. I feel like that's a shame. Like, Lodobot was awesome. Like, I'm glad Whis made it in, even though I feel like the new voice actor can't do him well. I mean, maybe, you know, after a little time, maybe it'll grow on me, because, you know, it's not the first time I've had a voice actor change, and then, you know, I got used to the new actor. That just, it was a little jarring, because I just don't think he pulls out that kind of sarcastic tone the OG actor did. But I was just really disappointed Lodobot ain't in the fucking game, man. It's like, please, put Lodobot in one of the DLCs. Please, please. Lodobot is awesome. Though I was kind of happy Timothy got a DLC. That's actually, because, you know, with Handsome Jack being dead, it actually is kind of interesting to see what the fuck happened to all of them. Double body doubles. Because he supposedly had a lot of them, so. again, you know, that stuff we'll go into with the DLC video that whenever the Game of the Year edition ever comes out, but it just, I just don't think they're ever gonna really top Borderlands 2 in the villain department. I said even while we were live streaming 3 is just, I feel like, I wonder if they really regret killing Jack. Because, I mean, killing him eventually would have been fine, but like, he only had one real game he was in. I mean, the pre-sequel takes place before, and I mean, he's in it, but you know, he's obviously not as, villainy. I mean, he's still a bad guy in it. You see the evolution of his bad guy in it, but I mean, you know, he's not the main draw villain of the game, because you're working for him. But I don't think they're ever going to really top Handsome Jack. It's not impossible, obviously, but I don't think they go far enough in the story department to really be able to top him. I think he was just the perfect kind of character for Borderlands as a villain. So, they could always use that ending for Tales of Borderlands, though. Which I really hope they don't, because that's kind of a cop-out way to do anything, but that was actually a concern of mine going into this, and that didn't come up. Nothing about that came up. It didn't even address what was canon. Actually, there's a lot of things you don't really get to know what became canon in Tales of Borderlands, and that might be a potential thing to leave, like, what characters may have died or may have lived in the game. So, that could have been a potential thing, but it's a bit sad not to know what things may have happened or not happened, since Weiss and Van are the only two characters that I am aware of that appear in 3 in any capacity, though I'm sure there's probably a few mumblings of some of the other events and characters. I'm sure if you dug through all the side quests and echoes and that, I wouldn't be surprised for a few of them. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got to really say about. It's just no Borderlands to me. It's not the game-breaking revolution when it comes to the story, but some of the additions to the gameplay were very nice for the cooperative experience. If you have any questions about Borderlands 3, feel free to leave a comment down below. And if you feel like you learned anything interesting in the video, feel free to leave a like. If you feel like you've learned nothing at all, feel free to leave a dislike. Feel free. Until next time, have fun and enjoy Pandora's latest ride.
どうだった？私の作ったアッ